I have spent my entire life relentlessly and, let's face it, hopelessly chasing love and validation from sources outside of myself, seeking love and validation from other people when I should have been giving it to myself and searching for it within. I have been a people pleaser. I have given gifts and performed deeds. I have even made myself small by holding back the way that I feel and think about things because I had hoped and believed that by meeting other people's expectations, I would receive love from them. But all that is me being inauthentic. And is it really love if you are having to put on a performance to receive it? I've learned that you can't love other people into loving you. And the more that I tried to love other people into loving me and I didn't receive it, the more I hated myself because I began to feel unworthy because why am I giving away all of this love and I can't get any of it back? I've realized that I have to give that love to myself in order to receive it from others. Whenever you love yourself, the right people notice it and they will begin to reciprocate the love. This lesson has really been sticking after my most recent breakup. I actually wrote a letter to my ex after he started showing up in my dreams that I posted here to YouTube. And in this letter, I do address that both of our traumas contributed to what happened between us, but I still do a lot of self blaming within it because that is honestly the way that my ex made me feel, that it was all my fault because I am an emotionally deep person. But the truth is, in any kind of relationship, it takes two people. It's not all on one person. We each have aspects of ourselves that are unhealed that creates the situations that we find ourselves in. He projected his own unresolved pain and inability to feel his emotions onto me. And because he had zero emotional accountability, I began taking on both his unresolved emotions and my own emotions. And it just became this whole mess. After I posted that video, I had this overwhelming urge to reach out to him and try to break no contact, not necessarily to get back together, but because I wanted to apologize and I wanted to try to find some kind of common ground between us and try to work towards healing, even if that doesn't mean having a relationship with each other, because I really valued having him in my life. But I received the exact response that I was expecting from him, which is no response at all. He was avoidant and emotionally neglectful even while we were in a relationship. So I don't understand why I would expect anything different now after we've been no contact for a couple of months. It's been challenging for a bit. It really hurt. And I was in this slump after picking at that wound and not getting a response. But over the last couple of days, I have been feeling so much lighter and it has been getting a lot easier. I feel like I am finally starting to see the bigger picture of the entire situation and what happened. He's been in my dreams the last two nights, and in these dreams, I'm working on restoring an old house, which is very symbolic for me healing. And I'm restoring it with this nature theme, which is all about like grounding, stability, and putting down roots. And in the dream, I'm trying to get his attention, and he's actively avoiding me, but it's not bothering me, which I feel is just further confirmation that I am reaching a point where I'm finally moving on from this. I woke up with the songs Unstoppable by Sia in my head and Messy by Lola Young in my head, and everything just kind of clicked. You know, there's a line in Unstoppable about, I've heard that to let your feelings show is the only way to make friendships grow, but I'm too afraid now. And then Messy by Lola Young is just all about this constant battle of not feeling good enough because you can never meet another person's expectations. And it's all about wanting to be your genuine self. And I realized that my ex hates the fact that I find strength in my emotions and my vulnerability because he is constantly performing. He has never been able to feel safe in his emotions due to the trauma that he has experienced. And he has not reached a point in his healing where he is ready to sit in those emotions and meet himself that deeply in order to fix them. It's all just confirmation that it's time to move on, that his emotional neglect and avoidance isn't just some kind of misunderstanding between us. It's consistency. It's a pattern. It's just who he is right now. It's who he may always be. And that's totally okay. I hope one day that he is able to heal to a point where he is able to give and receive love in a healthy manner. His inability to connect emotionally is not my problem or anyone else's problem, and it's not a reflection of my worth as a human being or as a partner. He is carrying all of this unhealed baggage that he's not ready to face, and he projected it out onto me. And I didn't set boundaries with him, so I took it on and mirrored it back to him. And then he blamed me for my response. I had this emotional response to being emotionally neglected, and suddenly I'm the problem for mirroring an issue that exists. He breadcrumbed me just enough to keep me hopeful about our relationship and potentially having a future together, but not enough to make me feel secure about our relationship. And see, the thing is about me is I most definitely have like this savior complex where I believe that if I love someone, it could be the catalyst to them healing and growing, and they could love me back because I helped them get to that point. um, Loving him and wanting a future with him was not enough for that, though. That's just not how things work. He has to choose to give and receive love, and he has to choose to heal on his own. None of us can force someone to heal. It is a personal decision that each person has to make on their own. We can be a support system, and sometimes we can be the catalyst that encourages somebody to heal or grow, but ultimately the individual is responsible for their own healing, and we can unravel the healing work that we have done on ourselves by not setting firm boundaries and trying to take on the healing work that is supposed to be done by another person. I ignored the red flags that were happening at the very beginning of our relationship because I believed with time he would see my value and open his heart to me. My love and care for him was even called betrayal at one point. I had received a concerning text message before he just stopped responding to me when he usually like messaged me all day long, and I got concerned. So I reached out to a mutual friend, and I was just wanting to know if he was okay. And I found out he was okay. And then he accused me of betraying him by telling other people that he was having a hard time. And I just wanted to know he was safe. I loved him and I cared for him, and he saw that as danger. He used my struggles as an excuse to avoid talking about what he was going through and what he was dealing with, which only made me feel more broken and unworthy. And it gave me like this sense of shame because since I'm dealing with something difficult, I'm not good enough to be a support system when I had wanted us to support each other and be a team together. He would purposely ignore me whenever he was having hard days, and he wouldn't even tell me that he needs space. He would just go blank on me, and then I'm just left wondering what is going on, which created all of this stress and anxiety within my head. And then he'd tell me that I can't be too emotional. And I realize now that it's because the emotions made him feel uncomfortable, but Emotions are normal. Emotions are human. It is not normal to repress your emotions and to not feel anything at all. Spiritual concepts were also used in our relationship to justify his fears. And he would just tell me that I'm too attached to the outcome. And, loving a person is not necessarily attachment. We are human beings, and wanting human connection is hardwired into our DNA. And we want community and connection from each other. And if I love someone, yes, I'm going to want a future with them. If it doesn't happen, okay. But if you love me, I would think you would be thinking about the future too, and not just telling me that I'm too attached. It's love. I took on all of his unhealed parts as my own, and I began to see myself as unworthy. He saw himself as unworthy of receiving genuine love, and I started to see myself that way too. I delayed my own personal goals because I lost myself in trying to love him and to healing. And I even temporarily soured the dreams that I had for myself because I had loved him and I wanted him to be a part of all of my dreams. And all of these ideas that I had suddenly involved him. And then, just as quickly as they involved him, it was ripped away and it's not a possibility for the future anymore. It really hurt. I lost myself for a while. Last weekend, I even was in such an emotional state that I missed out on an opportunity to work towards one of my goals. It passed by because I was so caught up in the heartbreak of the past and this person that was incapable of loving me the way that I needed to be loved. It was a painful lesson in boundaries and choosing myself when I had hoped that it would be a lesson in building trust with another person and finding security with another person, because I have yet to have that in this life. And I've reached a point where I really crave having that deep, close, emotional, spiritual, and physical connection with another person where we can communicate effectively and work through things and help each other grow and heal. I'm ready for a secure connection with another person that knows what they want out of their life. I lost myself in my last relationship, but I am now finally starting to return to who I was prior. I'm starting to focus on my goals again. I'm starting to put more love into myself. I've been calling back my power and my energy and my love so I can put it into myself. My ex may not have seen my value, but I do see my value, and I'm going to become every single thing that I said I would become. And someone else is going to recognize that, and they are going to love me for exactly who I am without me having to make myself small or without putting me down for being the person that I am. And none of this is to shade my ex, because I really hope that he heals and he's able to love the next person properly. It would be wonderful if we could have some kind of friendship in the future. But as it stands now, I cannot hurt my own healing for the healing of another person. And I cannot put my life on hold, hoping that someone could change when they have shown the same consistent patterns over and over again. You can't love someone into loving you, and you can't love someone into healing. Love yourself, choose yourself, live authentically, and it'll come back to you in time. It always does. I hope you have a wonderful day.